Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Let's go.
Mm-hmm. Happy Friday, everyone, and welcome to the Buckeye Blitz. I am your host, Chad Stryker. I am not a journalist. I am not an insider. I'm not inside the Woody Hayes Athletic Center. I am just a regular guy who some friends and family convinced to start a podcast. So here we are. Welcome to what I'd like to call Buckeye Friday, mainly because it rhymes. But I thought it would be a cool name to start our Friday off with. So hey, I wanted to talk about some things about who's staying, who's going. So I entitled this little segment, Should I Stay or Should I Go? Let me first start off by saying I don't for 1 second believe the rumors that CJ will stay. I'm basically thinking, he probably is going to pen some kind of really nice announcement. But if he does come back, I'll be thoroughly thrilled and excited, and that would definitely put us in the real favorite to win a natty next year. Not that we wouldn't be a top five program anyways, but 3 year starter at quarterback coming back. Maybe he wants to come back and beat Michigan and get a pair of gold pants and win a Big Ten championship, all of which he hasn't done. So uh, maybe, but I'm not getting my hopes up. So I'll be thrilled if he does, but I don't see it happening. Secondly, if you're watching this in the early morning on Friday, I expect an announcement about the offensive coordinator position later today from Coach Day, and it will be one of the assistant coaches. Maybe Brian Hartline. We'll see. Um, However, beyond that, people staying. Tommy Eichenberg to Nami. Tommy's coming back. That's exciting. That's the quarterback of the defense. I know some people are worried about C.J. Hicks and some other things. C.J. Hicks is really, he looks good. He's a good-looking young kid. I think he's going to play well. He's an outside linebacker, though. He's not a Mike, and that's where Tommy plays. If anything, Steele coming back maybe more impacts CJ. And when I looked at snaps last year, Cody Simon got about a third of the linebacker snaps. So could I see C.J. Hicks in that role? Certainly. Could I see him in the Jack position? Spelling Jack Sawyer? Absolutely. If he's good, he's going to find the field. So I don't see him going anywhere. I don't think he's hitting the portal. He's an Ohio kid. He's from the Dayton area, so everybody can just breathe easy around that. I haven't heard anything that would from anyone that would make me suspect that he's gonna be gone. So obviously, Mayan Williams said he's gonna run it back. Matthew Jones coming back. I touched on my podcast earlier in the week. Big news. Either whether he plays guard or center. Just having him back in the fold with Donovan Jackson and Josh Fryer, who are all returning. Nice to have back. I mentioned still Chambers returning. Cade Stover coming back is actually pretty pivotal, honestly. I think he can work on his blocking this year. He's an elite athlete, but now I don't think hitting the portal is as much of a need at tight end as it was once thought was when he was leaving. But just the fact that Tommy Steele and Cade are going to be able to catch more raccoons in Columbus and do some of the fun things that they do around their house. They all live together, if you weren't aware. All good news for the Buckeyes. Xavier Johnson coming back. I really think Xavier Johnson could be what we wanted, like that hybrid H-back to look like under Urban Meyer and Tom Herman. He's got that kind of attributes, so a la like Dontre Wilson or something like that. And I don't know. Maybe they work that into the offense somehow. I like it. I like his return. I like what he brings. I like his mentality. He's just a gutsy kid, and I think having him back in the fold is awesome. And then Julian Fleming, obviously, he could have left. He wasn't going to leave, but he is back. Some notable departures, though: Paris Johnson Jr., DeJuan Jones, Luke Whippler declaring. I touched on that earlier in one of my other podcasts. Obviously, JSN, Ronnie Hickman, Zach Harrison, Teron Vincent, Tyler Friday, Jerron Cage, Paleo and Tote, Josh Proctor, Mitch Rossi, Cam Brown, Noah Ruggles, and then Cameron Brown on the offensive side at wide receiver. So, there is some attrition. There were some starters, obviously, that won't be coming back. But remains to be seen what happens with CJ. He's about the only one left that hasn't declared. He's made about $4 million from NIL. I could see, him not being in any hurry. Maybe he wants to finish his degree, but again, don't get your hopes up. I just don't see it. So what's next? Some of the things that have been on my mind. The last day to declare for the NFL draft is Monday, January 16th. The last day to enter the early transfer portal window closes next Wednesday, the 18th. And then March 8th is the first spring practice, and undoubtedly the spring game will be sometime the second half of April. So for a quiet period, or what is supposed to be a quiet period, we're right up in the thick of it. And the actual National Signing Day is Wednesday, February 1st. So, not a quiet period really at all. So I do think that is that's something to speak of. I'm going to keep this podcast a little bit shorter. Busy day today, but one of the things so I've had 3 people, that I'm a smaller podcast that have asked me what I think of Jim Knowles, like what's going to happen with Jim Knowles' defense. And we do have some stud. You have Sonny Styles and possibly Lathan Ransom, and this idea of a safety-driven defense. I think next year, honestly, because of what's leaving the defensive backfield, it needs to be a linebacker-driven defense. I want to see Tommy Eichenberg, Steele Chambers, and C.J. Hicks, and any of the other guys get in there and just mix it up and lead that defense. I think you have an elite defensive line this year with veteran presence and that are highly rated. Will have another year inside of Jim Knowles' defense. So I want to see Jack Sawyer, JT Tuimoloau, Tyleik Williams, and Mike Hall get in there, hold those guys up, and let those linebackers fly around. That's what I want to see. It is yet to be determined whether or not a safety-driven defense in the Big Ten can hold up for 12 games. That Michigan game, where the way that they were able to run the ball, the way that Maryland threw the ball around against our safeties and cornerbacks, and then obviously the national championship game. I see a lot of parallels between Michigan and Georgia and what they do. They want to get to the fourth quarter and they want to grind you down with their running game. So I think that we need to really look at utilizing our linebackers and putting a third linebacker on the field next year when necessary. I know that's not standard of a Jim Knowles defense, but those are my thoughts for today. So been on my mind a little bit. But next year, really, I hope to see a linebacker-driven defense. And I want to say too about Tommy coming back, and I mentioned C.J. Hicks. So, no slight at all to Gabe Powers or Reed Carrico. Both those guys are ballers, though, and I hope they get a shot too. But it's nice to have that depth. And definitely in that linebacker room. And, Steele, obviously, after the 23 season, won't be back. Tommy won't be back. So you're going to, getting those guys reps, rotating those guys, and getting them on the field, letting them play in live action is enormous. So I know I focused a little bit about the defense, and I was a little bit of all over the place about what's going on, but it's really just around the 23 season, who is and is not in the fold. So I appreciate you guys. Thanks for listening. Thanks for going on this adventure with me. If you're interested, I have a website. It's thebuckeyeblitz.com. Talks a little bit about my story, why I'm doing this, and the history behind just how I feel about, you only get one shot at this. So, in this thing called life. And so why I ventured out, and I'm way outside my element in doing any of this and putting myself out in public and talking. So thank you again. Subscribe, like, for more updates, and I'll be back next week with probably an update from later today. Like I mentioned, I don't think it'll be a big surprise to anybody that's been around the program about the offensive coordinator position, but I don't want to steal any thunder. Everybody have a wonderful weekend. Thank you again. Like, subscribe, check out my YouTube channel, check out my website, and I really appreciate all of you listening. Take care.